Hi, this is Jana Manuelpillai for the Noble Sage Art Gallery. Sorry if you tuned in yesterday at 5 o'clock. I had a problem with my phone and suddenly it wouldn't work, and so I couldn't do the live Facebook feed. So I'm sorry if you tuned in and it wasn't one there yesterday. We have a very good one for you today, though. We're going to be looking at this very small work by P. Gopinath, who lives in the Cholamandal Artist Village in Chennai. Do come closer and you can have a look. So this is as you can see, it's a very small work, and this I would describe as a sketchbook work because it was from a sketchbook. He works in these sketchbooks. He's quite very strong, powerful paintings in sketchbook. So there was a perforated edge on one side of it. And he would work out his larger paintings on this format. But these are finished paintings in themselves, he always said to me. P. Gopinath is a really interesting character because his uncle was K.C.S. Panikar, who is a very important artist in the Madras movement in South India. And so he had this really strong kind of artistic family that was pushing him on and pushed him towards going to the Government College of Art in Madras to become an artist. Also his grandfather, he can remember when he was young, his grandfather used to do these big charcoal and chalk drawings, and he remembered that going forward it kind of also inspired him to become an artist. So what is his works about? Well, if you come closer you can see that what he creates is very inspired by Madhubani paintings and or Indian miniatures, where you've got kind of interior spaces in these tiny little miniatures of with people sitting on a chaise-longue maybe, or sitting in a small courtyard. They're normally quite Spartan with an architectural background, maybe pillars or covings in the background, maybe a carpet in the foreground, and normally a few things like that. He took that as an inspiration for his abstract paintings. So even if you look at it, you can see that some of those shapes kind of form as you look at it. You can see a coving here, or an opening, a doorway, kind of implied there. You can see these kind of curvy shapes like this, arabesque lines that go around certain imagery, like here. These little lines like that. There's slight decorative kind of shapes. The technical term would call them in art history is biomorphic forms, because they change in front of your eye and remind you of different things all at once. So you've got these circular shapes here, you've got that doorway there, you've got the sensation of a background, like a back wall there, but the actual change from there to there is very little. But you get a feeling of maybe a carpet with this design, and you get maybe the feeling of a chair here. So as you look at this very warm red, deep red canvas, you got this kind of welcoming sensation of looking into an interior, but an abstract interior. And his big paintings are take this and then amplify them into big swashes of colour and big kind of more decorative movements. But I love these sketchbook works because they're so intimate. They're so they have a relationship like a tiny photograph of a room, but in abstract form. And I obviously was drawn to them because they relate closely to the history of Indian art, and these Mughal miniatures, these tiny little paintings of princes or princesses sitting in these opulent little backgrounds and surroundings, palatial surroundings. So they relate to that. Also, interestingly, this is a little bit of tidbit of information. He was in his own home, where his studio is. He has a big courtyard in the middle, which is open air. So, which has, if I remember right, curved arches just like this. And so you can imagine that his architectural setting for his studio and for his work feeds into the kinds of shapes the kinds of biomorphic forms that take place in his abstract compositions. They're really beautiful works. This is the only work I have by P. Gopinath in my collection, and I'm very, very fond of it. It's really pretty, and as I say, it's one of his kind of worked up sketches. I hope you enjoyed that today. It's just a short 10-minute little tea time teaser. I hope you will join me again tomorrow at 5 o'clock, where we will look at another work from the collection. And 5 o'clock tomorrow, every weekday at 5 o'clock. See you then. Thanks.